SESI, uma iniciativa da CNI, Confederação Nacional da Indústria, apresenta...
What we do every day here, I think, is support the development of self-esteem, support the ability for each child to maybe take a little risk, to go beyond their comfort zone. And for me, that's what education and learning is about. It's about inspiring, it's about learning existing knowledge, developing skills, but it's surely for us, and I think important in the 21st century, about allowing students the freedom to create new ideas, to create new knowledge, and to experiment in their learning and have the freedoms to try out new ideas and take the learning to another level. And what we try and do in our school every day is to give them those opportunities to do that.
They teach us as if we're adults, so it's just, you get to know the teachers more as you would in an everyday school.
How we can use the studio, and the equipment we have is quite professional and quite expensive as well, and we treat it with a lot of respect.
The practical element of our school is fantastic. We have so many opportunities to do different sorts of genres in TV and film.
What the teachers really tried to do is they tried to include us in most of the school decisions, so we are quite involved in the school's decisions.
In 2012, I was approached by the Studio Schools Trust to consider a studio school. The Studio Schools Trust is an organisation, it's a charity set up to promote the studio school model of learning. And I had a blank piece of paper. I had an empty building, a building that was not fit for purpose for education, to be honest. And I had an idea that learning could take place if we transformed this building into something quite authentic, that had meaning to the students in terms of the world of work. I did a lot of research about what were the current high-performing jobs in the local area, and also regionally and nationally. And I also looked at information about what the predictions were for the future. And the digital creative media industry is growing exponentially in this area of the southwest of England. So there are going to be a lot of new jobs. In fact, they reckon about 17,000 new jobs in the next 5 years for this area alone in that sector. And it's a sector that's unknown to me because I'm a scientist by background, but it's a sector which I know is very creative, where new ideas are developed, people experiment. And for me, that was important because I think learning is about that. It's about not just learning facts and then being able to repeat them in an exam, but also about trying out new ideas and testing hypotheses. So for me, the creative media sector was the ideal specialism to adopt for the school. And then I went to the Department for Education in London and sold the idea, and they gave me £2.8 million to realise the ambition. Our youngest students arrive at the age of 14 and they follow GCSE and IGCSE courses, which are the main qualifications that most 14 to 16-year-olds have to take here in England. Our older students, who join us from 16, do a range of qualifications. They do BTEC qualifications, they do A-levels, and for some we have special certificate courses as well. So for example, we offer A-levels and BTECs in business, in photography, in broadcast journalism, in IT, and in creative media.
Pretty tasty on the old.
If I'm speaking to the entire class, I need to project into the class across the whole room. If we're just talking just me and you, then I would lower my voice a little bit and speak in an appropriate register for that situation.
In terms of our curriculum, at the age of 14, there are some subjects which are mandatory, but they're very minimal. So, for example, our students have to learn about English, mathematics, science, and our students also have to learn about personal and health and social welfare. For our older students, we don't have any constraints on the curriculum whatsoever. We're able to offer what we think meets the needs for students, and most importantly, also meets the needs for future employers.
Presentation as well, so you need to sort of pick someone who you work quite well with. Who's your general default partner? Yeah. So the difference, I suppose, is the combination of the vocational learning and the academic learning and the work experience. It's a very unique model in that sense.
I think the drive for this school for me is to make sure that all of the students leave with the ability to gain jobs and become as employable as possible.
Welcome everybody to this special edition of Question Time, where we're going to talk to Gillian Joseph from Sky News, and she's given up her time today to answer some of your questions and to give you some tips about what it's like to work in the broadcast industry. Welcome, nice to see you, Gillian. Okay, so we're going to start with our first question. Our first question is from Ewan in Year 11.
Hi Gillian, can you explain the life of a day in the life of a Sky News presenter?
A day in the life of a Sky News presenter. Well, it's different for each and every one of us. For me, it doesn't usually involve an awful lot of sleep because I'm normally on the early sunrise shift, and it means that my alarm clock goes off at 3 a.m. Yes, 3 a.m.
The year I'm in is Year 11, which is a GCSE year, which is the year we do all our first exams to get ready for life, basically, and to get us those qualifications. I'm in creative media, business, maths, English, science, photography and geography.
What was your most challenging interview and why? And can you tell us the techniques you used to deal with this?
I can safely say was interviewing.
I'm in Year 12 at the moment. I'm taking my ASs and then I'm going to be taking my A-levels next year. I'm taking English literature, I'm taking film and media, which is a BTEC diploma, and I'm taking photography.
Have you got any advice for us as students?
Well, I would say focus on exactly what you want to do. You know, think about the areas that you want to get involved in. You know, do you want to be a sports journalist, a political journalist? Are you interested in lifestyle issues, in education?
I'm in Year 13 and I study business, double awards, so subsidiary and diploma, and the same in creative media. Here, when she's in the fields, it was here. She didn't like this bit because it wasn't synced enough. I think first of all, it's a school that's designed to be kind of business-like, and it's more of a working environment than a school. Also, I'd say that it's quite small and we've got a lot of technology, and they're trying to make it more technical and more eco without the paper, and we all work on iPads, and I think that the courses are done in a specific way so that everyone understands, and it's more practical than learning. We learn, but without really noticing we learn.
So you've got all this information here, which you can use, okay?
It's interesting because it has the mix. So you have the professionalism to be treated like in a workplace, like an office environment. And then you have the also the school side of it, which is kind of needed for being in a school environment. So you still have the classrooms where you sit at the desk and talk to your teacher and put your hand up like the traditional classroom. But you also have the other classrooms where we could be in the TV studio making a production, which we also learn exactly the same, if not more.
You could just, if on the mic, you could just use the...
That's a cute third. Bring now.
Okay, Josh, can you hear us?
Josh, can you hear us?
Kind of, yeah.
Turn it up.
Yeah, I did that.
Right, okay, cool.
Okay, is the auto cue working?
Is the auto cue working?
No. Auto cue's not.
The methodology comes out of our connection to the Studio Schools Trust. Part of my role is to try and incorporate our Create framework into everything in studio school life. So the Create framework is a pool of different personal and social skills. So we have communication, relating to others, enterprise, applied thinking, and emotional intelligence. So again, for me, the methodology is all about trying to find ways within the curriculum or throughout life for a student in our school, finding different ways for those personal and social skills to be explored and utilised in every single day.
The way around?
Well, when it first starts.
I also think this school is about giving students another chance. Maybe if they have been to another school and they realise that actually that limited range of subjects wasn't the right choice for them, they might be a lot more creative, more vocational, more practical, and I think our school really works for those type of students.
It's kind of a second chance for me. I didn't do amazingly in my last school, to be honest, and in this school I'm doing a lot better. What motivates me to do this every single day is the fact that I know I'm going to be enjoying myself at this school, and at my old school I didn't enjoy myself, and I think that's what gets me up so early, and that's what makes sure that I'm here on time. It's the fact that I'm actually coming to the school, I'm actually like having fun, I'm doing subjects that I enjoy doing, and being able to do something that I enjoy just makes me happier, to be perfectly honest.
The philosophy behind studio schools was really based on a number of things. The first was that the existing education system was creating quite evident boredom and disengagement amongst a large subsection of the population. So students weren't achieving anything like their full potential because the way that the school taught them didn't suit their style of learning. The other part of the concept was what employers were telling us. And employers were saying in survey after survey that young people were leaving the education system without the skills and the attitudes that the modern labour market was looking for. So employers wanted people who were enterprising, who were resilient, who could work in teams, but the school system didn't produce any of that. So the whole concept was based on those two things, helping young people prosper, but also providing what the labour market wanted in potential employees.
Well, I guess it's the combination of vocational learning, so it's project-based learning where students have to manage their own time, they have to manage projects, they have to work carefully to their own deadlines. So it's modelling real-life situations.
And the other kind of key pillar of the model is the notion that young people learn best in an authentic learning environment. So we provide work placements for our students.
This is a farm that's organic, so all the produce here comes from here. So for example, all the pots that you'll see around, we all homemade. At the beginning, I was just picking vegetables, and then I understood that they were doing it with restaurants and they were delivering restaurants, and I thought it would be a good idea to promote them and show other people what they were doing. because their produce were really good. So for example, I'll take some pots from here, I'll take some salads, especially in summer because there's some flowers in the salads, and I'll take some pictures and promote them on Facebook, on Instagram. I tweet sometimes. For example, school at the beginning, I tweeted school showing them what I was doing, all of that. So it helps me with my business because I do skills such as marketing, all of that, promoting. There's some different ways of promoting, so I do some research, look at the farms, what they're doing, and then I try and make ours different. And for my creative media side of it, well, just as it says, camera work, photography.
It's my job for the first 2 terms to get students ready for the world of work, and that involves a range of different organisations coming in and dealing with the students and trying to help them develop skills that will enable them to go in and have successful work placements. So within the first 2 terms, I help the students produce CVs, help them with writing application forms, application letters, and just making sure that they have and understand the skills that businesses will want to see when they go out into work placement. And I normally try and marry that up with the subjects that the students are studying. I have regular meetings with the students and make sure that the work placement matches their ambitions and goals.
My first work placement was with Sirona, and that was really good actually because it gave me a lot of experience on what to do in media and how to work with a boss that wanted deadlines like made, and if I didn't meet those deadlines then I would be in trouble for it. I wouldn't be doing the right thing. So here we have what I did for my work experience, and I had to work for a company called Sirona, and they had people talking about what their jobs were, and they recorded it and they asked me to edit their videos, and I used Premiere Pro, which is the main thing that we use in schools to edit our videos. And the reason we got this work placement is because our teachers help organise a work placement for us. And we had Sirona come into school and said that they would like to interview a few of our students, and I was the person that got the job out of, I think, about 4 of us, and I think that was really good. Now I've moved on to working in a primary school, and working in primary school is really useful because those are the 2 jobs I'd like to go into, either media or becoming a teacher. And working in primary school gives me so much experience for what it's actually going to be like. Like, I'm actually watching face on what it's going to be like to be teaching.
So they go, Year 12 go on a Wednesday and Year 13 go on a Friday. So essentially they get 18 months of work experience, and they find it incredibly useful. And a lot of them are beginning to, as they come to the end of Year 13, they're thinking, right, this is a real opportunity. And a few of them are looking like they're going to be employed by their work experience partners, which is obviously a great bonus for them, so they don't have to get into the jobs market. They've already got 18 months real life work experience behind them, and they're getting real skills. I mean, some of them are working at a very high level, which you perhaps wouldn't expect of a 17 or 18-year-old, but they're using the skills they learn in school, taking them into the workplace and then applying them into a real-life situation. So it's a fabulous experience.
I come to this school like as a job. Like, I treat it almost like a job. Because you get treated more like an adult, you behave more like an adult, so there's not really... obviously we have a laugh sometimes and there's the odd bit of behaviour that you'd expect in a normal school, but as a whole we all act more maturely and as adults than we do at our previous schools.
I feel professional in some way because we have to wear business wear, and I think that it prepares us for the future as well, because most students come from places where they're not used to having a Mac suite, and then when they go to work, I think it just prepares us more than anything.
We discussed our dress code before we opened school, and we thought we'd like it to be professional, so business dress. But we allowed flexibility with the business dress, so you'll see lots of young people wearing different coloured ties, different shirts, different coloured suits. And then for when the students are in work placement, they dress according to the environment they work in.
Right, can I just speak to you about this? Because you've taken it from one angle only. Yeah, and also, you've got an actual corner there, you've got two different directions of light. Have you changed the camera angle? Okay, and what about some interesting angles where you actually...
So for us, every child matters. Every single child matters here. We're interested in the starting points as they arrive and how we can progress their learning and so they can achieve their ambitions. And for us, it's about planning learning that meets the needs of the individual. So we do that in many different ways. We do that through developing individual plans, individual action planning. We tailor the curriculum to meet their needs, so we think very carefully about the selection of subjects that students choose. We spend a lot of time as a team, and I've got a very good, strong team of teachers and colleagues who work very closely together, planning for each individual child, and that's something we can do in our scale with 300 students, and that's something that we believe in. And by doing that, we know that each student is getting the best deal.
Right, why is that significant?
It's the use...
Soul to save, what kind of language is that?
It's...
Souls, saviours. Where could we hear that kind of language?
It's kind of a religious.
Right, it's quite religious. Brilliant. Okay, so you've got this religious idea. You've got religious imagery.
I know every single student in the school. In my old school, there were still hundreds and hundreds of students there that I'd never even had a conversation with, and every single student in the school that I know. And I feel that the teachers get to know the students better, and they get to teach us better because we're so closely interacted that we get to always have that help next to us instead of having to call out for it. We'll have people on our back making sure we're doing the work.
Yeah. So how does that link to him being a tragic character? Think about how we sympathise with him.
We sympathise with him because he, in this, hasn't done anything wrong. He has been seen as innocent and he is portrayed to be innocent. It's like the references to him having a pure soul or going up to heaven, and that will instantly make you think of him as a better person than her.
I think, like any school, they expect us to kind of maintain high standards and to engage with the students in a really positive way. But I think working here rather than working in another school, it's about being innovative and creative, and where we're such a small team, we really have to work collaboratively with other people. I have to share my ideas with business and science and game design to see where we can help the students develop their skills in a really broad, all-round way, rather than just doing English in English.
I mean, that's a challenge. I mean, things like mathematics, how do you make that interesting? How do you make it relevant? And again, it's about how the teacher teaches it. So in our school, our mathematics teacher will link it to business. We'll link it to science and show the relevance of the mathematics. And that's not particularly unique to a studio school context. That happens in other schools. But I think here we've got more opportunities to link it to those other areas because we specialise in them.
Yours look nice. Okay, you've got the context. Your context quite important because everyone else has got context that we kind of know about. So Emma or women. I think the innovation comes in across all of the subjects, English, maths and science, not just the subjects like journalism and TV and film. And what's really nice is, as an English teacher, I can make use of the skills of my colleagues in TV and film, or even make use of the students' skills. So in English, for example, we're looking at putting together an interview with a fictional character, and actually we'll get the students to produce that in the studio, whereas in a mainstream school, they would just do it as a mock-up in a classroom. So getting them to practice their skills in that innovative way in a core subject is really important for them. I think the role as teachers it's not just teaching here, it's really about building really positive relationships with the students. So where in my A-level class I maybe have 8 students, I have a really good opportunity to not only get to know them as learners, but to get to know them as people. And I know what's going on at home, and I know what's going on at the weekend, and actually that enables us to have a really trustworthy relationship as teacher and student, and it just makes them want to be here more because they feel comfortable in their learning environment, and they feel that they can take risks with their learning because they know us and they trust us to take those risks.
As a science teacher, it is very important that I develop the students' practical skills and their investigative skills as scientists to be able to look at what's around them and deduct the truth to so to extent, so to say, from that, and actually having the space and the resources here to move them across to a whole other side of the room. It's very clear that this is the practical side, this is the experimental side. It's all very talking and sharing and developmental conversations and collaborative conversations, whereas having the space to then come back and sit down and consolidate.
Amino acids, which make up? Proteins, okay, good. And then the last one, lipase, breaks down fats or lipids, so lipids, lipase, into fatty acids.
Students are very open and honest to say if they feel that they've struggled. I taught a lesson today, it was genetics, it's very difficult, and they're quite keen to say, stop, wait a minute, slow down, and we have that relationship where, yep, absolutely not a problem, and it's much more informal where they can just, hang on a minute, miss, it's not waiting for ages and things. And in terms of feedback that I give the students, obviously in lessons I take feedback from them, but I also give them feedback if I think they've struggled and how I can develop them further and to improve their understanding of certain points. It's very, very different, and it's much stronger, and it's been to the benefit of me being able to teach effectively and the children being able to learn effectively.
Okay, so I would go and do it as a soft curve. Do you know what I mean by a soft curve?
Yes, it was like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be like that. Like a hill rather than a mountain.
One of the things that's recurring again in our lessons, and something that we discuss a lot, is how do we use the feedback from the teacher and from the student to enhance the quality of the learning. So communication skills in terms of feedback. So we have a protocol for that. So it's about being sensitive to people's ideas. You don't want to offend people. You don't want to make them feel low by giving them bad feedback. It's about phrasing it in a language where it's positive. So this could be better if, even better if is a phrase that we use a lot. We always talk about positive things and then how you can improve things. We don't start with the negative. So communication for us is about the confidence to provide feedback, the confidence to present. So we provide lots of opportunities for our students to present, whether it's in assemblies, whether it's in classrooms, whether it's in the TV studio.
As we go to school in Bath, we send our reporter Albie to the city's Herschel Museum to find out what we should or shouldn't be doing tomorrow.
Okay, so that first bit at the desk was pre-recorded before the show started, so me and Megan could have a few goes at reading the autocue. This report we filmed earlier in the day with Albie. He wasn't actually in the studio with us because he filmed this report. Has anyone got any questions so far about the experience? Yeah.
Did they have the autocue over the actual lens?
Yeah. So the autocue is like
the idea of a studio school is to combine workplace learning with experts who have worked in vocational fields themselves. So all of our members of staff haven't been teachers all their lives. So, for example, we've had trained journalists. We've got, I worked in publishing before I came into education. We've got some people who've worked in business. We've got people who've worked in all sorts of multiple roles. So they're not just teaching from an academic perspective, they're also teaching from a work-based vocational perspective as well. And that's one of the kind of unique features. So we actively recruit people who have worked in the real world, if you like.
Do you use critique in business studies, John, and how does it work in business studies?
So recently we've been working on communication skills when it comes to recruitment and selection. So having students in role-play scenarios where they're actually taking part in interviews as both the interviewer and the interviewee, and having a set kind of sheet of responses of the way they should be approaching the situation. So professional mannerisms, appropriate language, and really kind of the whole process of an interview.
So it's not just about the act of critique and offering suggestions for improvement. It's also the tone of the discussion. It's about their social skills and social development, really, isn't it? I mean, guys, so we're a very small team. So we have 9 teachers, and our teachers are selected through a process of we advertise. But what we do is we make it very clear in the advertising that we do for our teachers that we're looking for people that recognise the unique characteristics of our school.
Optimum temperature. Have a think about it tonight, look it up if you're not sure, and come back ready tomorrow. On you go once you're done. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And what we do is we provide training in partnership with the Studio Skills Trust. So many of our staff have spent a residential experience in Manchester in England, where the Studio Skills Trust is based, where we do specific training on pedagogy, on project-based learning, for example. And we have an ongoing training programme within our trust here in Bath, working with our partner schools as well.
I've got a lot of support through the Teach First community that I've trained with, so I've got people outside of school that I can ask questions to. And the benefit of this school, it's very flexible and adaptable, so I've got the ability and the opportunity to go in and say, I think we could do this and I'd like to do this, and I can go in as long as I check. So there's a lot of flexibility and openness to develop if you would like to, so that's been really fortunate.
England has a very, very heavily regulated education system. So at studio schools, the kids, the students take the same examinations as they would do in any school. We think that's important.
I did my English exam here, and I'm going to do my maths exam here, and we also did our enterprise exam here. We sit in the hall and we have tables with our specific name on it, and then we just get the paper and do it, and when the time is finished we just give it back in.
In the system of education within this country, sometimes talents and confidence is suppressed because the focus is on examination success. Now, we don't take away that examination success is important, but we see that as just one component of learning. And for us, if we engage our students in understanding how best they can learn, if we support them really well, if we feed them ideas to improve their confidence, give them experiences to improve their confidence, then we believe that the outcomes in the exams and any other assessments will be really good. All of you, bar one, got a level 2 qualification, which is the equivalent of an A to C pass, is absolutely phenomenal. Really, really brilliant. And you should be so proud of yourself. You really should be, because we are as well.
On my products, I usually get feedback by having a teacher go through step by step what I've done and like how I could improve or how I could better my work to make it best, like to make it of a higher level of a grade. And like instead of getting a C, I could get a B instead, or instead of getting a merit, I could get a distinction. And that's what's quite nice. And being able to take media as a BTEC means that I haven't got exams. I'm going through all coursework, which means that I, like the teacher, will constantly be giving me feedback on my work. And instead of that just having one exam that means so much, I can redo my coursework and I can like make sure that every single part is the right way that they want it.
Lily, what we're doing is we're talking about our video that we're going to make for the Year 12s about the UCAS application process. So the boys are going to do writing a personal statement. I mean, you could get involved in that, definitely.
Oh, yes, definitely.
It's very, very individual, so we keep trying to change what we do to improve it and make it better. So we've tried lots of different things. We tried a blanket personal coaching programme for every single student, and we found that some students required a lot more personal coaching than others, and so then we thought, okay, let's come up with a targeted programme of one-to-one coaching, so students can ask for more personal coaching anytime they want, and I can book them in. They also have a group personal coach every single morning, so they have 20 minutes in the morning to meet as a group and discuss those create framework skills. It could be looking at their future job choices, what's going on in their home life, any difficulties. It could be trying to improve their confidence, or they could be talking about how they're stressed about the exams or revision techniques. So that group coaching is a really important time in the morning to just kind of prepare them for learning in the morning.
Good morning, nice weekend? Good morning. Did you do anything nice, Sam? Did you see the Rovers? I highly value my role as a coach in the school. I coach all of Year 11 as a year group, but with the year group being so small, it's up to 21 children. So I see them every day for 20 minutes at the start of the day, and I take responsibility to make sure that they are equipped for the day, that they know what they need to do. If they have any questions, I will help them. I'll support them in homework, in revision, in their needs pastorally. But certain students have personal coaches where they have meetings one-to-one and maybe once or twice a week.
Nice to see you again, Harry. Okay, yeah, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Good. So what I thought we'd do today, because it's term 4, is just have a look at mapping out everything that's going on for you at the moment, and then looking at...
I think the biggest challenge of a coach is overcoming what students have been told or what they think they already know, because they might have had negative role models in their life, or missed out on opportunities, or because of the media, they get presented certain information and they believe it like it's truth. And I think a lot of my work is about trying to change perceptions and getting them to really think for themselves what they truly believe. So I often ask quite challenging questions and try and encourage students to think in a slightly different way about things.
So I'd just like to find out what's important for you in life at the moment. Okay, so we're going to look at quite a few areas. The 3 key ones being employability skills, personal development, and your academic learning. Okay. So just think about absolutely anything, okay, out of all of those areas, and we'll just get it all down on one piece of paper, and then we can maybe start looking at what's the most important thing for you at the moment. Yeah? So
a key focus of mine at the moment is making sure that I get a pass in my English language retake, because I've got my coursework that needs to be handed in tomorrow, and I've done it all. I just hope that I get the right grade for it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of our students have low aspirations, and that is a result of the environment that they've kind of grown up in. So it's about overcoming those limiting beliefs and helping them realise that they're capable of more than they think. And that's the number one challenge, is raising aspirations and encouraging them to realise they're better than they know.
Something else I really want to focus on is making sure that I get my photography up to standard, because this is my first year of photography. I've never taken it before, and I want to make sure that my photos are going to be as good as other students' photos, and my coursework is going to be of the same level. And those are the things that I mainly want to focus on.
Fantastic, okay. So that's all your academic learning goals. You've got 3 big goals there, which is brilliant. And really, I don't think we should focus on too much more on that, because...
It's helped me to advance what I'm doing with my work, and it's helped me to realise when something is wrong and when something is right, and it's helped me to make sure that I'm staying on track, because I've got this teacher that's constantly with me. I've constantly got someone reassuring me of what's right and wrong, and I'm able to freely ask a question and have help every single time I ask.
Sometimes a lot of other agencies that work with our students to support them, maybe in their mental health or any kind of abuse, or if there's addiction of some kind. So it's about getting all of those professionals together regularly and holding meetings, multi-agency meetings, to make sure that we're all working together to support the child in the same way.
So when you first came, you were struggling more, obviously, with the stress. And so if 0 was the worst that stress could be, and 10 was the best that your stress could be, where do you think you are now?
I'd say around about 7. because you've helped me a lot with how to cope with it and how to manage it, but I'm obviously still a little bit stressed with my GCSEs coming up and getting coursework done in time for exams.
Yeah.
So teaching is something that you have always been interested in, or just through this work placement?
I've kind of always been interested in working in teaching because I've done work placements in 3 primary schools now.
Wow.
This is my 3rd, and I'm really interested in becoming a teacher, and I kind of have been ever since I was younger. And I think it's just something that I'd probably excel at because I'm quite good at just leading a group and quite good at just talking a lot. So I think I'd be quite a good primary school teacher, to be perfectly honest, because I think you've got to have a certain level of confidence to do it, and you've got to have a certain level of being able to talk to people. And I think that I'm quite good at that, to be perfectly honest.
Fantastic. So your confidence and communication skills at the moment, you would say, are on track for that profession?
I think my confidence and communication skills are quite good at, to be perfectly honest, I'm able to really talk to anyone, and I'm not too worried, not too nervous of a type of person.
Okay. He's more focused on what he's doing, he's more interested in what he's doing, he's more engaged with what he's doing than when he was doing purely academic subjects. He's certainly much more engaged in his studies than he ever was before. He didn't really used to like going to school, and now he loves coming to school because he's doing interesting and fun things every day whilst learning at the same time. I think that's really what's changed about him coming here.
Colin?
Hello there, nice to see you.
And you too.
Nice to see you. Would you like to come through? And we can
Yes, absolutely. You lead the way.
Thank you very much. Nice. How are you?
I'm all right, and your good self?
Not bad.
Very busy.
Very busy day.
What makes our school different with working with parents is that we like to get them into the school really early on. So we like to build a really good relationship with them, and we really, really encourage open communication.
She was hovering between going out into the workplace and really doing work placement straight away and learning on the job.
Yeah.
And then she thought, well, I'd like to apply to universities and go and visit them.
Yes.
Which is what we've done.
Well, I think I'm really, really impressed that she's taken that.
She loves coming to school. She never misses school. She's an A student, and she has changed remarkably in the 2 years she's been here. I didn't recognise her 6 months after she started coming here.
Toby and I have been interviewing each other.
What's really important, I think, is that she can get the experience from outside and bring it back into school and have the teachers discuss what is happening outside. So she's learning how to cope with the outside world while she's still being protected under a school umbrella. That's what's really perfect.
Should you be focusing on me?
Students who are about to leave school, my ambitions for them are that they will leave the school feeling that they have achieved great success academically and also in terms of their employment area that they've focused on. That they get good qualifications and, but more importantly, also have that good skill set that they can then share with future employers or future institutions that they may study at university, for example. It's really important that every single young person who leaves our school has progression routes. So we have a range of different progression routes for our young people. So over a third of our students are going to university to study the specialist subjects that they've studied at school, which is phenomenal. So we're going to have hopefully the next, massive game developers for software development. We're going to have perhaps some of the best photographers in the country coming through our school. We're going to university. We've got some young people that are setting up their own business. And one of my plans for the future in the school is to secure some additional funding so we can set up small incubation business units within the school. So we can actually have maybe 10 businesses operating on the school campus to support that transition from school to the world of work.
A BAF, ela traz modelo muito interessante, porque ela pega alunos que eles geralmente se sentem muito desconfortáveis numa escola tradicional e ela consegue oferecer um ambiente em que esse aluno se encontra. Ele se encontra na sua própria potência, porque ele descobre a sua vocação e ao descobrir a sua vocação ele se engaja. É fundamental que principalmente uma escola que tem essa pegada profissional, que ela esteja de fato conectada com a realidade econômica daquele território, né? E que haja essa interface, né? Você achar que vai formar os meninos dentro de uma redoma dos muros da escola e eles depois saírem e estarem preparados, a gente precisa trazer o mundo para dentro da escola, assim como a escola tem que ir para o mundo. Então, trazer as empresas para dentro da escola, fazer com que os jovens possam ir estagiar nas empresas, isso é fundamental, até para que eles possam ter uma visão mais crítica do que é o mundo do trabalho, saírem também preparados com essa consciência crítica para não serem só massa de manobra, né? Mas também para que eles tenham uma noção da realidade, porque a gente idealiza muito, às vezes a gente vai com muito romantismo e não está ali entendendo como que é a vida, né, a lida diária ali na real. Então, acho que Bath, ela mostra que esse ambiente é possível, né? Que a gente pode criar essa nova escola em que o jovem se sente reconhecido, estimulado e que sai capacitado para enfrentar os desafios da vida adulta.
Hello, Year 11. Good to see you. Thank you for attending punctually this morning. What we want to do today is carry on our work from last time, where we were looking at population. Young people spend a lot of time at school, and so we have an enormous responsibility to ensure that the experience that they have enables them, in my view, to fulfil their dreams, to fulfil their ambitions. It's about quality of life. It's about enabling people to have more choices in their life. I believe that education is the catalyst for social mobility. I still genuinely believe, though some have said that I'm naive, but I don't think I am, that no matter where you come from and what background you are, if you have a really good education and you've got a really good brain that you can use well, no matter where you come from, you can have a really successful life and a successful career because you will always use that brain and learn and have a curiosity for learning as you develop into old age. And I certainly believe that. I am the only child in my family that went to university. I came from a very humble background in Glasgow, and here I am leading a multi-million-pound venture where I've got the responsibility of a large number of young people's lives in terms of their education. I never felt when I was a young child myself that I would ever be in that position. And the thing that enabled me to do it was my drive, my relentless drive and enthusiasm, but also my education, which now I value even more so than I did when I was at school. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our first assembly of this new term, where we're all together. And this assembly this morning is a really special one because we've got some special news for you. Because last Thursday evening, members of staff from the school were invited to a very, very special celebration event, the Bath Life Awards. And the Bath Life Awards is a big event in the assembly halls here in Bath, which is supported by all the major businesses in Bath. And we were proposed and put forward as the best education provider in Bath. And we're just sitting there quietly, just minding ourselves, not thinking at any chance that we would win this. And then they made the announcement. And they made the announcement and they said, the Bath Studio School. This trophy is for you. And we are so, so proud of this first award, because this award reflects your hard work, your determination, your commitment, and most of all, your perseverance to be the best you can be.
So keep going, and keep going. We're so close. Yeah. What are you 11?
Uma parceria SESI, uma iniciativa da CNI, Confederação Nacional da Indústria.